The Vegas buffet is gone. The one you remember, the $12 mountains of crab legs, the endless prime rib, the soft serve you ate until you felt genuinely sick, that's dead. And yeah, some are still open, but not for you. Not anymore. Bacchanal is still there. The Wicked Spoon is still there. But you're paying $80 to walk in. The buffet survived. The Promise didn't. Here's the math that explains exactly why Vegas decided to kill it, and who they killed it for. For decades, the Vegas buffet was one of the greatest illusions in a city built entirely on illusions. You walked in, paid $12, maybe $15, and ate until you physically could not move. Crab legs, prime rib, shrimp cocktail, dessert stations that stretched the length of a bowling lane. Soft serve, you went back for 3 helpings because it was there and nobody was stopping you. It felt like Vegas was giving something away out of the goodness of its heart. It was, and that was always exactly the point. The buffet was never a restaurant. It was a tool, one of the most effective loss leaders ever devised, designed to do one thing: get bodies through the door and keep them in the building. The logic was simple. Feed someone a cheap, excessive meal, and they leave the table happy, loosened up, feeling like they already won something. A person who feels like they already won something is far more likely to sit down at a slot machine on their way out. The buffet did not need to turn a profit. It needed to manufacture gamblers. That was its entire job, and for a long time it did that job extraordinarily well. The model held through the 80s, through the 90s, and well into the 2000s. Vegas marketed itself directly to the middle American budget traveler, the person who wanted to feel like a high roller without spending like one. The buffet was the centerpiece of that promise. Come to Vegas, eat like royalty for $15, maybe win some money, go home with a story. The casinos built their real margin on the floor. The buffet was just the handshake. It was a beautiful con, and it worked for 40 years, but the cracks started showing long before anyone heard the word pandemic, because the economics underneath were getting uglier every single year. Let's talk about what it actually costs to run one of these things. Start with food waste. Industry standard at an all-you-can-eat operation runs between 30 and 40%. That means on any given day you are throwing away nearly half of what you prepared. Not because the food was bad, but because the format demands it. You cannot let a tray run empty. The entire appeal of the buffet is abundance, and the moment it looks sparse, the illusion breaks. So you keep everything full from open to close and throw away the rest every night. Multiply that across 300 days a year, and the waste cost alone is staggering. Then there's the staffing. A major strip buffet running 200 items across 10 or 12 stations needs an army just to function. Prep cooks, line cooks, carvers, servers, bussers, health compliance staff, expeditors. Hundreds of employees per shift in a city where hospitality wages have been climbing for years. The annual labor cost on a large buffet operation runs into the millions before you've spent $1 on food. And then there's the real estate. Casino floor space is some of the most valuable square footage on Earth. A bank of slot machines in that same footprint runs 24 hours a day with minimal staffing and almost no overhead. A buffet runs maybe 4 hours at lunch and 4 hours at dinner, requires a massive support infrastructure, and operates at a loss. Not a thin margin, a loss. So the question stops being why Buffett's disappeared. It becomes how they survived as long as they did. The answer is that gambling revenue subsidized them completely, and for decades that was fine because the Strip was an uncontested money machine. But that changed. Regional casinos opened across the country, meaning the family from Ohio no longer had to fly to Vegas to gamble. Online gambling ate into a younger demographic. Sports betting moved onto people's phones. The Strip's grip on American gambling dollars loosened, and suddenly what every square foot was generating became a much sharper conversation inside every boardroom on Las Vegas Boulevard. The buffet's subsidy was already shrinking. COVID just made the decision easy. When the shutdowns hit in 2020 and every buffet on the Strip closed overnight, the casinos found themselves in an unexpected position. The buffets were dark, the revenue had not collapsed without them, and there was now a legitimate external reason to never reopen. No backlash, no bad press. Just a quiet pivot that the pandemic made socially acceptable. Most of the casinos took that opportunity without hesitation. But here's the part that reveals everything. A handful didn't stay closed. Bacchanal came back, the Wicked Spoon came back, the buffet at Resorts World opened, and every single one returned at a completely different price point. $50, $75, $100 on weekends. The format survived, the price did not. And at that price point, for the first time, the math actually works. Food cost is covered. Waste is covered. You can pay your staff properly and still turn a margin. You can source quality ingredients because you're charging what quality actually costs. The premium buffet isn't a loss leader. It's a legitimate high-volume dining concept, and it turns out it's a great one when it's properly funded. Bacchanal gets called one of the best dining experiences in Vegas, full stop, not just as a buffet. That's what happens when you stop subsidizing a concept and start running it like a real business. But what the survival of those premium buffets reveals is something much colder. The cheap buffet never failed as a concept. It failed as a subsidy when Vegas no longer needed that particular subsidy to fill its floors. The moment loyalty apps, luxury hotel packages, celebrity chef restaurants, and a wholesale identity rebrand gave casinos better tools to attract the customer they actually wanted. The cheap buffet became not just redundant, but actively in the way. Vegas spent the better part of 15 years repositioning itself from affordable excess to aspirational luxury. The city that built its identity on cheap rooms and cheap food rebranded around exclusivity and spectacle. The MSG sphere. Residencies at $300 a ticket. Restaurant reservations that cost as much as a flight. That rebrand required a different visitor, not the family on a budget, but the traveler who drops $5,000 over a long weekend and considers it reasonable. That person does not need a buffet to feel good about Vegas. They have a reservation at Hell's Kitchen and a suite upgrade waiting at check-in. The $12 buffet was not just economically inconvenient for that version of Vegas. It was a brand problem. A reminder of an older, cheaper city they had spent a decade and billions of dollars trying to move away from. So when COVID handed them the exit, they took it without looking back. The Vegas buffet did not die. It was discontinued, replaced by a premium version that costs 6 times as much and serves a fraction of the people the original was built for. And that tells you everything you need to know about who Vegas is designing itself for now. It is just not you.